Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. The subject of the discourse today is Rathavinita Sutta. This discourse was delivered by Bhagavan Buddha in Rajagaha. While he was staying in Rajagaha, there the Buddha gave this discourse. It's one of the most important suttas, in fact, in the Majjhima Nikaya. It's Majjhima Nikaya number 24 is one of the basic suttas dilating on the nature of the spiritual purification and spiritual transformation that comes about, the process of spiritual development. So it deals with that extensively. It's known as Satta Visuddhi, the 7 stages of purification, spiritual purification, leading to enlightenment, leading to spiritual transformation and enlightenment. And this sutta also deals with the nature of Nibbana, that is, nature of when a person has succeeded in attaining enlightenment and thereby brought about complete, a total purification of the mind, of wisdom, of spiritual transformation, then what happens once the enlightenment is attained and the spiritual transformation is brought about? What exactly happens, you see, as an experience of Nibbana? Nibbana is twofold. One, by way of the Nibbana of a living, enlightened being. Let us say, the various stages of supramundane attainments leading to the state of the Arahat, of the perfect one. Now once a person becomes an Arahat, he is totally liberated from the bondage of worldly existence. He is freed from this wheel of involvement in karma and rebirth. And an Arahat, once the Arahat passes away into final parinibbana, or the final state of liberation, then he is no more reborn. He is totally freed from this process of samsaric existence, of being born, then die, then being reborn, and then again get involved in the karmic process. So karma and rebirth, this wheel of karma and rebirth, from that the Arahat is totally liberated. So as an having achieved this highest state of enlightenment, he is totally liberated from samsaric bondage and therewith all the sufferings of samsaric bondage. Now, this sutta deals with these two things. One is the stages of purification, spiritual purification that comes about step by step, not suddenly, and with assiduous practice and total commitment to spiritual life. Once one begins that kind of spiritual life, and then by stages, in 7 distinct stages, how the spiritual purification occurs, that is very clearly and very objectively stated, so that anybody can understand. how progress, spiritual progress takes place in the form of the purifications. And at the end of purification, when a person achieves the final goal of enlightenment, Nibbana, you see, the two aspects are twofold. One is when the person is already a liberated being, a perfect one, say an Arahat, what happens to him? He is liberated, all right, but he is still living. So as a living person, he is subject to the process of living. He has to eat, he has to drink, he has to answer calls of nature, he has to attain to the well-being of the people. He lives a normal life, completely normal life, and while living a normal life, how he enjoys the state of Nibbana, state of spiritual freedom, spiritual liberation, that is one state. It's called the Sa Upadhi Sesa Nibbana Dhatu. Now, while living, he is enlightened, though he is subjected to the process, you see, living in samsara, still in the worldly existence. Yet he enjoys, you see, state of freedom, liberation. He is an enlightened person and he enlightens the world. And the way he lives becomes the model for all those who are unenlightened. So, here you are, then you have got three distinct topics of very profound importance indeed for a person who is seeking to be enlightened or who is a spiritual seeker. Again, to repeat, number one, the stages of purification. That is the path by which one evolves, one develops spiritually, leading to spiritual transformation and enlightenment, freeing the mind totally from the bondages of the fetters and living entirely for the good of the world. While going through the process of ordinary life, the Arahat also has got you see, maybe an Arahat may be sick, an Arahat may, you see, he needs all the things that an ordinary person needs, food, a place to live, and all that sort of stuff. So, an Arahat, while living a very ordinary, normal life, he still is liberated and helps in the liberation of others. So this is through the 7 stages of development, he achieves this. The second aspect of Nibbana is the Anupadisesa Nibbana Dhatu. That is when the Arahat passes away. After the liberated one, the enlightened one passes away, what happens? That is the other aspect, Anupadisesa. Now in this, the Arahat, when he passes away, his life is characterized by certain qualities. And the first thing is that he is totally freed from any kind of clinging whatsoever. He passes away without clinging to anything of the world. He just passes away, which the description in Rathavinita Sutta is that just as in a lamp, when the oil is finished, the flame also gets burnt off. So his parinibbana is something like that. When the karmic, all the accumulated karmic potency still within himself, he lives. And after the karmic process is over, that means he is living as his body and mind, you see, the normal life. When that is over, his longevity is over, then he passes into the final parinibbana, absolutely without clinging to anything in the world. The flame does not cling to the oil. Flame does not cling to the lamp in any manner. The oil is finished and the flame is gone. This is exactly what happens with the Arhat. So, now these are the two aspects of Nibbana, the 7 stages of purification leading to Nibbana, and the model life that he lives, the enlightened person. Now, for instance, one example I will give you. In the very first stage of enlightenment, when a person enters into the stream of Nibbana, which is called Sotapatti, entering into the stream leading to Nibbana, irreversibly. He can never, you see, once he enters into this state, his mind is totally transformed. He is a different person altogether. So he cannot fall back again under any circumstances. Within 7 days, 7 lives' time, he becomes a fully enlightened Arhat. Now, even at this stage, at the very first initial stage of enlightenment, the Sotapanna is totally freed from, a certain type of actions and behavior. For instance, he cannot, under any circumstances, violate the Panchashila, the 5 Shilas. And a Sotapanna can never kill. But he only promotes the well-being and happiness of all living creatures. He lives a totally non-violent life of, universal love, compassion and so on. So he cannot violate the first principle, the precept of killing, but he, on the other hand, saves life in every possible manner that he can. Secondly, he cannot, under any circumstances, violate the precept of stealing, taking things that does not belong to you, misappropriating others' things, stealing others' things, or corruption, plain and simple, getting involved in an act of corruption. Take things that doesn't belong to you, you see. So he is a very generous person. He is a giver and never a taker. Then the third principle he cannot, under any circumstances, violate is that he can never commit an act of sexual misconduct. A Sotapanna can still be a householder. He can live a very noble, clean, pure household life. And his mode of living is no more based on sensual pleasures or anything of that sort. So a Sotapanna can never, under any circumstances, violate this moral principle of, sexual misconduct under any circumstance. Number 4, a Sotapanna can never tell lies. It is impossible that a Sotapanna, having entered into the stream of Nibbana, to the ultimate truth, that he will violate the principle of truth by being untruthful. He can never violate that. Nor again the Sotapanna, can, under any circumstances, indulge in any kind of intoxicating, taking drinks, intoxicating drinks, and be inebriated and all that sort of thing. No. He has complete control over his mind, and he never loses his mind by, indulging in intoxicants and so on. So these 5 principles which he cannot violate, but he only promotes the opposite virtues of each of these principles. Now that becomes the model for a seeker of truth, for a seeker of enlightenment in Buddhism. So every Buddhist throughout the world and throughout any other, planes of existence, every Buddhist is supposed to follow the model provided by the Sotapanna in order to achieve enlightenment. If you are not thinking of enlightenment, if you are not thinking of spiritual freedom, if you want to, keep on suffering in the world, the bondage of samsaric existence and the sufferings, innumerable forms of suffering, then the matter is different. You are just, drifting in the ocean of, in a samsaric ocean. You are drifting without aim and without meaning. It's an aimless drifting of existence. So, but anybody who wants to make the best use of life and get something out of life, life means something, and any person who is serious enough to make the best use of life would naturally like to follow a course of living that makes life meaningful and worthwhile, and an unfolding a kind of spiritual adventure. The ability not to kill but to save life, requires wisdom. It requires some measure of spiritual maturity and understanding. So a Buddhist is Buddhist by virtue of the fact that he has to, or she has to, follow the 5 principles, because he or she is committed totally to the attainment of enlightenment, freedom from suffering of worldly existence in any form. So an Arahat, for instance, is incapable of violating the 10 precepts, which is the model for an undertraining monk. Anybody who wants to live a monastic life, he or she has to follow the 10 silas. And they are pretty tough, and they require a lot of discipline indeed. So now the model life provided by an Arahat to the world is of very, very great importance indeed. So in this sutta, these 3 topics the Buddha has touched upon, they are very, very important indeed for any serious spiritual seeker. One, to repeat again, one is the process of spiritual purification and progress. The way we spiritually progress, step by step, in a process of inner purification. And then the goal of this purification is the path which leads to a goal. The goal is enlightenment, the state of the Arahat, and how, see, the two aspects of this enlightenment or nibbana, spiritual liberation. One aspect is while the Arhat is living as an ordinary person like any one of us, yet is totally free. Totally free from any kind of clinging, any kind of attachment, free from any kind of greed or hatred or delusion, freed from committing any karma which will invariably involve you to be reborn again. He doesn't commit any karma at all. All the actions that he performs, which similar, for instance, he has to take food, he has to walk about, he has to talk, he has to give discourse, he interacts with the people all the time. His life is a very, very energetic life. Yet, totally free, totally uninvolved. So that pattern of Nibbana, where one is here in the world, yet out of the world, yet beyond the world. That is one state. And the other is when such a saint, enlightened saint, passes away. What happens? Whether he takes anything with him when he goes, or what does he carry with him, and so on. Is there any remnant of karma that is left that he carries, and so on? So that is the other aspect. So these two aspects of Nibbana, together with the 7 stages of spiritual purification, and the third point, how as well, you see, enlightened person lives an exemplary life to be of use to the world, to live in such a way a model life that others will benefit from. So he is not just having achieved liberation, he runs away from the world, he doesn't care anything about the world. No. He is an immensely caring person who lives for the good of the world. So these are the 3 topics of this particular sutta. I will today dilate on, you see, this broadly, the outline of it. Now this sutta was delivered by the Buddha in Rajagaha, when he was staying at Rajagaha in the monastery called Veluvana, which happened to be you see, it was a kind of sanctuary for the Kalandaka, the squirrel. The people of Rajagaha, it was a little away from the city, not very